No, I wish I could embarrass them. My kids are like super secure in who they are. Like, and I know they're 3 and 4, but I can't, I can't even scare them anymore. They're like little dudes. They went from being toddlers to being little men. What to look for in high-performing teams if you have no trust in your team. I get it. That's where you're at today. Maybe you don't feel like they take any initiative whatsoever to step up and say like, oh, this is what we need to work on. Or you feel like you're always micromanaging them. And because of the lack of trust, you're like, hey, I need your report. I need you to show me this. I need you to put everything in here. Whatever it is, I get the pain and the frustration, right? But I also know that if you do it right, you can have a team that you're crazy proud of, that are bringing to you more ideas about solutions to the problems that you didn't even know existed, that they proactively took on. And you're like, you really get to a point where you're editing, right? They're doing the work, they're executing, they're delivering on the customer. Whatever you promised the market, they're doing for you. And you just edit, you tweak. You're like, yeah, let's do that. Oh, we don't have a budget for this. Let's hold off for now. We'll do it in Q3, but great suggestions. And it just changes the dynamic of how you grow the business. That is the opportunity. You know, I really learned this before I built my company Spheric, because I kept trying to build these little companies, and I called them projects. They were never incorporated, but it was a consultancy. I mean, I built this one. It's called WTF, wantthefuture.com. And I won't get into the backstory of what it was about. But the truth is I started it with a guy that was half interested. And there was no team. There was no shared mission. There was no testing them, recruiting, finding out if we're a good fit together. It was just like, oh, you can do this work. Let's do something together. And that never builds a strong team. And what I see a lot of time with companies and clients that I coach is that they started with that approach, and then all of a sudden they grow, and now they've got to deal with this infrastructure. The way they manage the team, the way that their team collaborates is not mature. It's not a high-performing team. So what I want to share with you guys today is my thoughts on 6 different characteristics that I look for when hiring. And I've been doing this now for over 20 years, building and scaling companies. And to me, these are the non-negotiables. If the core team doesn't have this, then I can't have them part of the team, because I know that A players want to work with other A players. They don't want a C. They're not going to accept somebody coming into the business and not meeting them at their level, right? They want to be inspired by working with people that teach them new things, right? So the first thing is you want somebody that takes initiative. Somebody that doesn't wait to be told what to do. In the world, there's 2 types of people. There are people that need a to-do list, and there are people that create to-do lists. And to me, somebody that takes initiative knows how to create a to-do list. So I'm saying like, oh, here's the challenge. We need more customers. Here's our current marketing program. What can we do? Boom, they'll come up with an idea, right? They take initiative. They don't sit back and be like, nobody asked me to do anything, so I'm just going to sit here. No, they don't do that. They show up ready to go. That's the way they work. They cannot do nothing. So 1 is they take initiative. Number 2 is they have a desire for excellence. They have a pursuit of excellence. Okay, excellent means world class. When I talk to an entrepreneur, one of the questions I ask them, do you want to build a world-class company? Because if you don't, I can't help you. That's not my style. It's not how I roll. I want to work with entrepreneurs that have a desire for excellence. It's the same for my team. I want to make sure that the people, even in their own life, whatever their passions are, they have a pursuit for that passion. Even if during the day they work with me on a specific project, I want to know that they, in the way they approach life, has a strive for excellence. You need that desire. That's not something you can coach. It's either natively there or it's not. So that's number 2. 3 is a bias for solution. You know, it's really simple. You can talk to somebody and be like, hey, this is what's going on in my life. See how they react. See if they default to, oh, that sounds like this problem. Again, there's 2 types of people in the world. There's people that default to solutions, like, oh, that sounds challenging. You could do X, Y, and Z. Or they're like, wow, that's challenging. Did you know that this could probably happen, or this problem could probably happen, or if you don't fix that, this problem. Like, look, I want people that come to me with solutions. I want solutions people. I do not need problem people. I need people that get excited by the opportunity to create an outcome, to create a solution. So that is big. The other one for me is about transparency. Now, some people talk about trust. To me, it's not about trust. Transparency is different. Transparency means, look, here's what I'm working with. Here's the numbers. Here's my project. Here's the team. Here's where I feel the challenges are. They're honest, right? They're not complaining. They're just being open and transparent, especially amongst a team. There's no reason to hold things close to the chest. Maybe they, I've seen this so many times when I'm working on projects and I'm like, hey, what are your tasks? What are your to-do lists look like? And they're like, oh, well, I'm working on this. It's like, no, can I just see it? I just want to know. I want to know, is my team over capacity? And they get to this point where they're like holding back. And I'm like, what are you holding back from? If we don't have the trust, if you're not willing to be transparent with me, then that's a thing we need to solve. Because at the end of the day, we're an organization, we're a company, we have a mission, we want to deliver for our customers, and the more information that's available, I run an open book company. I'm not saying that everybody should know everybody's salaries, but I'm saying everybody should understand how the business makes money. And that transparency starts with the leader, and you want to hire people that also share in that desire, right? You want them that their default state is to share information, not hold it close to the chest. The next one is sense of urgency, all right? There's nothing that'll frustrate me more than to be like, oh, what's the problem? This is a solution? Great. What are we going to do about it? It's like, where is the excitement to knock it out of the park? Where is that excitement to jump out of bed to get it done? That sense of urgency is not, again, something you can teach people. They either have it, they either find challenges and they step up, or they look at problems and they just sit there like a deer in the headlight. And it's like, what did you think would happen with this problem? Do you think it was just going to resolve itself? They have no sense of urgency. There's ways to test for this, but at the end of the day, these are the characteristics that I think are super important. The last one I want to share with you is customer empathy. If people don't want to love on the customer, that's the way I look at it. When I think of my businesses that I'm involved in, I always ask my team, can you please love on the customer? At the end of the day, the purpose of a business is to create a customer that creates a customer. It's to create, deliver, and capture value for a customer. There is no business without a customer, right? A profitable customer, I might add. But you want teammates that have empathy for the customer, that just love on them. I have an incredible person on my team, Stephanie. If you guys ever had the privilege of interacting with her, she's incredible. That is, when I think of like the best example of customer, I think of Stephanie. I mean, the other day I was looking at feedback form for an event we did in Toronto, and in the feedback form is like, what was the best part of the event? The fact that Stephanie hugged everybody that came in the room for the event. And I'm sitting there going, because I was in the green room, I'm going, did she really hug every person that came? There was 100+ people at this event. And I messaged her, I was like, Stephanie, is it possible that you hugged everybody that came in the room? She's like, yes, why? And I was like, that's crazy. That's what I'm talking about. Can I coach somebody and do that? I don't think it's legal for me to ask my team to hug my customers. I think there's probably some HR violations there. But she did it, and it was appreciated. And I think that that's what you want is you want people, again, that take initiative. Right? That are not going to stand by, they're willing to take initiative. They desire for excellence. They want to create world class. They want to pursue the next level always. They have a bias for solution, that when they see a problem, they default to solution, not more problems. They are transparent. They're open. They don't hold their cards close to their chest. They overshare so that there's more information for the rest of the team to make better decisions. They have a sense of urgency when they approach problems. They don't sit back, wait for somebody else to deal with it. They're the first ones there. They're urgent about addressing problems. And then finally, they have customer empathy. They care about the customer. They want to love on the customer. Those are the characteristics of high-performing teams that are probably totally different than what you're doing or how you're hiring right now. The good news is, if you have those people, find more people like them. Ask them. Birds of a feather flock together. If you have great people on your team, you might want to start transitioning the other people off, finding those great people and saying, how can we find more people like you? Because you embody what I want to do or how I want to work and who I want to work with in my company. So as per usual, I want to challenge you to live a bigger life and build a better team in this week's video. I'll see you next Monday. Have a great day. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel to get weekly updates. Also encourage you to join my newsletter where I share exclusive invites to events and other free training videos. And if you're ready to get going, I got a couple more queued up for you now. See you next week. Cheers.